Hi, everyone. This is Aaron Larson, Executive Editor of Power Magazine, and you're listening to the Power Podcast. On today's episode, I'm joined by Cheryl Farrow. She is the CEO of the Ontario Association of Certified Engineering Technicians and Technologists, which is commonly called OACETT. Cheryl, thank you so much for coming on the program, and please tell everybody a little bit about yourself and about the group.
Well, thanks so much for having me with you today, Aaron. So yes, OACETT is actually my fifth association where I have been the chief staff officer. So I have previously worked with lawyers, with supply chain, with grocery retail, and with tourism. And I'm relatively new to OACETT. OACETT has over 25,000 members in Ontario, representing 15 disciplines for which the association confers two designations, namely the Certified Engineering Technologist, or the CET, and the Certified Technician, or CTEC. We also have a grandfather designation for Applied Science Technologists. Our members are also supported by 28 chapters across the province. And basically, the mission of the association is to act as Ontario's independent certifying body for engineering and applied science technicians and technologists. And we provide member certifications, career-long educational opportunities, and professional support for the benefit of our members, for the benefit of the province's economy, and for the development of safe and secure communities.
Yeah, it sounds like a really great mission and probably very important to the engineering community. Are there other things that you do that kind of helps, I guess, get the word out about engineering, and do the certifications and credentials, are they a commonly sought thing for engineers in Ontario? And do they apply to other provinces as well, or even in maybe the States? Do they carry some weight when people are looking for jobs, or what are they used for mainly?
Okay, so lots to that question, Aaron, so I'll sort of break it apart. Our primary message is that we want everyone, so whether it's employers, government, educators, the general public, to understand that the field of engineering basically has three pillars. So that would be licensed engineers, it would be the technicians and technologists whom OACETT represents, and it would be the skilled trades. And we can't be successful without all three of these pillars working together effectively. So that's why, from our perspective, you need certified technicians and technologists who have proven to be at the highest level of technical, ethical, and professional performance to be one of those important three pillars. In terms of the types of things that we do to create awareness of that, there are a number of different activities. We have a major one coming up in the spring. There's a National Engineering Month in Canada that we participate in with those three pillar organizations. And it will be a little bit different this year in a virtual environment, but that is our opportunity to create some general awareness about this field of practice. We do try to work very closely with the employer market, and that's where you really do start to see job postings where the certifications that OACETT offers will either be required, or they will be preferred, or they will create an advantage for hiring. And we have also just launched what we're calling our 360 Partnership Program, which is to help us connect even more with the employer community, get this message out there, and help them to understand the value of hiring certified technicians and technologists. We also want to make government aware of this, and we have a government relations strategy that's going to be launched next spring to identify the target ministries that we want to work with, and again, let the ministries know the kind of expertise that they could draw on from among our membership when they're looking at creating policy. And then I guess the third group that we work closely with is the education community. We work very closely with all of Ontario's community colleges on outreach to their students, and we even go so far as to embed our exam programs in some of the college curriculum, so they sort of have a leg up even into the certification once they finish school and start working. And then we work together with the colleges so that we can start to get the word out even in high school to encourage students to explore these fields of study. You had also asked about the certification and it sort of being recognized outside of Ontario. We do have a network within Canada. It's actually called Technology Professionals Canada, and OACETT is a founding member of that organization. And it brings together the 9 provincial associations for technicians and technologists. And that's where we have agreements in place so that the certifications can be recognized if our members look to move across the country. And then there's also an organization called the International Engineering Alliance. And that's the mechanism that we look at for the potential to have our members' credentials recognized internationally. So there are a number of opportunities for our members once they have that certification in place, and a number of activities that our association is working on to make sure that we are getting the word out there about the value of the certification that our members hold.
Obviously, Power Magazine, we are focused on the electricity generation industry specifically. So is there anything that your group does that supports the power industry directly?
Basically, as I mentioned at the outset, we have 15 disciplines which we represent for members. So that can be a lot to try to cover in any significant detail. But we would certainly have members within our electrical, environmental, and resource disciplines that would be focused on electricity generation. And we do try to offer professional development in all of our disciplines through our CPD program. So that's where we would certainly have some focus on those areas for members. We also try to highlight those disciplines in the Ontario Technologists, which is our membership's bi-monthly magazine. So I did go back to look at what recent articles we had that highlighted issues that were of relevance to the electricity generation industry. We had an article on Hydro Ottawa and its approach to sustainability. And we also had what I thought was a really important article that highlighted our members who work in electricity generation as critical essential workers during the current pandemic. There is a lot of focus on essential workers being our front lines in healthcare, the people who have been working in grocery stores, et cetera. And I take nothing away from those individuals, but it's also really important that we have our members and all of the people working within electricity generation still staying at their posts and ensuring that we are all able to keep the lights on. We do try to put a fair bit of focus on emerging areas in all of our disciplines. A recent example is I know we have an upcoming session in Eastern Ontario that's going to be speaking about small module nuclear reactors as sort of a related topic area. Mm-hmm. We also work, there's also an organization called Electricity Human Resources Canada, which is focusing on all aspects of the people side of electricity generation. And they're in the process of developing a competency framework for electricity and renewable energy industry. And so they had reached out to us for some information so that they could incorporate the electrical engineering technicians and technologists into that framework. So while we have a number of disciplines to try to focus on, we do try to have activities that are relevant to all of our members. And then we also offer professional development in what I would call soft skills or things that would be relevant to our members regardless of the discipline in which they're practicing.
Yeah, you talked a bit about training and how you can help people get their certifications. What sort of training are you able to do, and are they typically in-person training sessions? And of course, now with the pandemic, it's probably changed, but is that the normal process to achieving some of these certifications?
Yes, for the most part, the certification, yes, is a combination of courses, and in many cases, it's the courses that are offered through the community college system. Taking our professional practice exam, and then a certain amount of work experience in the industry. But then in order to keep your certification current, we do require ongoing continuing professional development on the part of our members. That's a relatively new and important addition to our certification program because it really emphasizes the need for lifelong learning within our professions and within our certifications. The pandemic, as you just pointed out, has created an important shift for OACETT in terms of the way that we offer professional development, because in the past it has largely been on an in-person basis. and either offered through the provincial organization or through the regional chapters that I mentioned. When the pandemic hit and we recognized that we were going to need to adjust the way that we were able to engage with our members, we rapidly ramped up our ability to offer professional development programs online, and it's programs that we've either developed and offered ourselves, or we've reached out to partner organizations who have content relevant to the field. So since the pandemic started, we've actually had 62 different CPD offerings available for our members, all of them online, so that they could be accessed. And I think the unanticipated benefit that we've had from that is it's provided an opportunity for members to engage with us who haven't engaged with us in the past because where they happen to live is remote or it's separated from the urban centers in the chapters. And if we offer the programming online, it doesn't matter where they live to be able to access the training programs being offered through the association.
Yeah, I was just going to ask that because I could see, even people outside of Ontario, in the United States, can they take these courses and perhaps get certified as an Ontario professional? Is that something that can be done?
It can be. For the most part, our act allows us to license individuals in Ontario. We do have some members from outside of Ontario, but for the most part, they have taken their certification from within Ontario and then moved elsewhere. So for the most part, our market is in Ontario.
I see.
But certainly our professional development programming is available wherever people can access links from our website.
Mm-hmm. And you, of course, mentioned some of the other groups that are in Canada and the international group. Is there anything in the U.S. that's comparable to what you guys are doing up there?
Yes, as far as I know, there are organizations in the U.S. that represent technicians and technologists as well, and they are members of the International Engineering Alliance that I referenced.
Okay. So you had kind of mentioned a lot of the things that have changed because of the pandemic. Have you still been able to accomplish all of your mission critical goals and things even while doing these online changes?
We have been. I have to admit, we're so proud of how quickly all of our staff have been able to adapt to basically a fully remote operation. So we have been able to continue all of our work in support of our members through remote means. We've been able to continue the certification processes and review. We've been able to continue some of the advancements. We've been able to continue our governance activities, and we are supporting our chapters in being able to engage with their members remotely as well. It's certainly been an important learning for us, and I think it's a learning that's going to stick because we have been able to access some of our members who haven't been able to engage with us before. I think we're going to continue to ensure that we have hybrid opportunities available. So even when the world moves back to whatever our new normal is going to be and we're back to being able to meet in person once again, I think we want to continue to ensure that we can maintain that online aspect at the same time so that members can participate in events however it's most convenient for them. The other thing that we've made sure to do is that we've had relief options available for our members whose jobs have been impacted by the pandemic. The last thing we want is for them to lose this valuable network at the time that it could potentially be the most important to them. So we're ensuring to work with our members on that front as well. And the governors have been very supportive of making sure that continues as long as our members need it.
I know diversity is a big part of your focus. How has your organization been promoting diversity within the rank and file, and why do you feel that having a diverse workforce is so important to the industry?
So there are certainly several important ways that OACETT has been working on this issue. I think one of the first important pieces of the puzzle was that we established a Women in Technology task force. And that group is pulling together not just women, but women and men within the association who are looking at developing specific strategies to help us attract and retain and engage more female members. There aren't a lot of women in the industry in general, and we'll be looking at some tactics on that as well. But this is specifically about growing their representation within our association. We are also a signatory to the Leadership Accord for Gender Diversity. And that's actually an initiative that was also launched by Electricity Human Resources Canada. So the group I mentioned earlier that we're working with has shown some leadership here as well. There is also a Canadian coalition of women in engineering, science, trades, and technology. And OACETT's president, Kim Pickett, is a board member of that group. And then within OACETT's strategic plan, we have actually established a goal to achieve 30% gender and ethnic diversity in our governance positions by 2024. We're currently sitting at about 11%, so we have a ways to go on that development, but it is an important goal for the organization. And this sort of speaks to your last question, why is diversity important? And we really feel it's because it is shown to have a positive impact on the performance of organizations. When you can have as many viewpoints as possible considered when you're making decisions, when you are establishing the strategy for the organization. And the other important aspect when you're an association that represents individuals is we want to ensure that all practitioners are able to see themselves within our association and know that they have a home here and a body that can be their representative voice. And the only way that we can do that is to have as many of those voices as possible in our leadership roles and within our governing body. So those are certainly some of the main ways that we're looking to address this particular issue.
Well, it sounds like you're doing a really good job in putting a lot of emphasis on it. And, I think that's important and definitely worthwhile. So keep up the good work there. Is there anything else that you want to touch on before we wrap up the show here?
I think I would just have a final shout out to any of your listeners. If this is your first introduction to OACETT, please look us up online. It's OACETT.org and find out how our members can add value to your organization and how our association can add value to you as a technician or a technologist. And I really thank you again, Erin, very much for the opportunity to share some of the important things that OACETT is working on and what it is our members are doing, both within the electricity generation industry, but in the technical world writ large.
Well, Cheryl, I do appreciate you taking the time to speak with me, and congratulations on your position. I know you haven't been in the job real long, but I think it sounds like you're doing a great job and providing great leadership. So thank you again for coming on the show.
Thanks, Erin.